We figured we'd start with the nice, easy, chill morning sound because that's sort of what it is. Good morning. It is 7 a.m., Tuesday, July 22nd, 2020. If you haven't gone outside yet, that's exactly what it is outside right now because it's only 64 degrees. It's beautiful. Welcome to ONNJ Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. We will take your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. Sun today, maybe some clouds later. Nice though. Highs low 80, 79 to 83, depending on where you are in the state. We head straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta, a first check of the Garden State forecast. Mike, it is delicious outside. Can I say
It
that?
is. It's you can. It's so comfortable. It just makes the day that much better when you can enjoy walking outside and not having to sweat through your clothes in a matter of minutes, like has been the case through the last few weeks. The forecast stays dry today, Ken, and with that sunshine, feeling like Southern California weather today. Waking up in a cool 57 up in Sussex, 66 in Hackensack, and 74 down towards Ship Bottom. So even the beach locations faring very pleasant this morning. A solid 9 degrees cooler than this time yesterday. How about that? Over on the green in Morristown, 8 degrees cooler in Millville, and 5 degrees cooler out toward Hackensack and Newark. Even the air is dry, none of that sticky feel that we become so accustomed to and really used to for the end of July. Slightly more humid down the coast, and that's what you'd expect with a light easterly breeze. Any of those showers last night staying well out to sea, so we are dry today. And we start off sunny with that northwesterly breeze, which starts to switch direction and blow from the east by this afternoon. Now, typically, an easterly breeze brings in more clouds and more humidity. That may be the case along the coast today. You might find yourself seeing some extra clouds. Some look like they might rain on you. I think we'll be dry through this afternoon. At least what the future cast shows. Maybe a pop-up sprinkle way south, but other than that, that easterly breeze could provoke some more cloud cover down toward Monmouth and Ocean counties, even closer to Atlantic and Cape May counties. But by tomorrow, as the wind starts to move in from the south, we pick up more of a southerly breeze, and that means more humidity, a little bit more heat, and our lovely stretch of gorgeous weather comes to an end because it's right back to the extreme heat and humidity come this weekend. As soon as Friday, it will feel like 99 to 100, maybe even in the low 100s in the city. So some big changes on the way in terms of temperature. Enjoy it while you can, especially with the clear sky that lasts through Thursday. I think we're relatively dry going into the next few days. It's Friday's high, actual air temperature of 97, feeling like it's 100 or greater. It's going to be a little hot, so it gets warm in a hurry. We'll tell you more about the weekend forecast coming up with your full look of the 7-day forecast, Ken. That's in a few minutes.
All right, Mike, we'll take it. We'll take it. You know what? As I'm talking to you, of course, my little gadget just went dead. Just like your camera goes on you now. This is
Oh,
this is the
yes.
traffic gadget. And of course, I got it back. All right. Just its timing is everything. It's literally as you toss back to me, it went dark. All right, Mike, it is beautiful. So we will enjoy this lovely day. 64 degrees. Basil are taking a nice deep breath out there. I sent Mike a picture of my basil yesterday. I was so excited because it looked so happy. 7:04 right now. And we have like I said, 64 degrees. We do have a disabled truck on Route 495 eastbound east at Kennedy Boulevard in Union City with a right lane blocked. And we also have a disabled truck on the Turnpike I-95 local lanes northbound at exit 72, which is by Route 46 in Leone with the left lane blocked. And we have some delays on the GWB, lower level eastbound New Jersey side. Let's take a look at the GWB 8095 approach. Yeah, there it is. There you go. I love it when it all works where the script matches the video. So this says there's a disabled truck, and that is right at that lead-in point with the left lane blocked. So you could see the lower level is slower than the upper, and that is exactly what we're being told. Either way, though, you're talking about from the upper level about a 30-minute crossover time, and it's about 40 at the lower level. It's 20 each at the Lincoln and the Holland tunnels. So you know what? As I'm talking to you, let's see if we could try something live on the air because apparently there are some burps I'm being told with my signal. And this is all being done remotely, folks. So here's what we're going to try. Let's see if we could try a switch to, we have different means of transmitting. Let's see if I can do this on the fly. My director right now is probably having a heart attack. Sorry, Pam. Internet. This is fun. Let's all try it together. If I go off for a second, just hit a commercial, Pam. Let's see, Wi-Fi on. All right. So we're now doing something called rollover Wi-Fi, where we're connecting to two different types of Wi-Fi at once, and it should fix the burp that we're getting. Let's see. And it should be working now. Does it look any better at all? Yes, Pam? All right, there you go. So we've now connected a separate Wi-Fi. That's what we did live on the air. All right, so it's 7:06. Did you feel it? No, okay, you're probably not alone, but yesterday morning at 5:40 in the morning, we actually had a 1.6 magnitude earthquake that shook Morris County. The United States Geological Survey says that it was centered just west of Morris Plains. Nobody got hurt, no damage reported. Most people do not feel earthquakes below a Mag 3. And yes, the state of New Jersey does have fault lines, but they're not located on a major plate boundary like California's San Andreas Fault. So when we get little earthquakes, or little tiny vibrators of earthquakes, little shakers, we had a 4.8, if you recall, last year. That a lot of people felt. This 1.6, not so much, but it did happen, and we're just letting you know. 7:07, some sad news that Malcolm Jamal Warner, beloved for his role as Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show, tragically has died. He was just 54 years of age. It happened in an accidental drowning in Costa Rica. Authorities say that Warner was swimming at Playa Cocles on Sunday when a strong current, a riptide, pulled him under. Despite rescue efforts, he could not be revived. Rip currents, riptides, no matter, you could be the best swimmer in the world, and a riptide is very dangerous. It could take your life. So if there are postings, if you see flags for rip currents, please don't go out beyond your knees, because it will take even experienced swimmers. The Jersey City native, yep, he's a New Jersey man, an Emmy-nominated actor, starred in all 197 episodes of the iconic sitcom Cosby, and he leaves a lasting legacy. Warner also appeared in Malcolm and Eddie and The Resident. He was a Grammy-winning musician. He is survived by his wife and his daughter. God rest his soul. 7:08, a 44-year-old Queens man drowned in a backyard swimming pool during a house party in Wayne Saturday night. Police responded to a mistaken report of a car crashing into the pool on Rutgers Court, only to find the man unresponsive at the pool's bottom. Partygoers attempted CPR before police and paramedics took over, but the man was pronounced dead at a local hospital. A New Jersey Transit bus crashed into a storefront on Main Street in West Orange just after 1 a.m. Saturday, slamming into the Oak Tree Nail Salon. The impact damaged two upstairs apartments, displacing residents after a lamppost pierced the floor. Several businesses remain closed, and the affected residential units are deemed unsafe, so people can't go back in. The bus driver did get some minor injuries. The cause of the crash under investigation. 7:08, a 22-year-old Lacey woman faces charges after striking two people in a Toms River apartment complex parking lot late Saturday night and fleeing the scene. The hit and run at Wintringham Village left a 60-year-old man seriously hurt, requiring treatment at Jersey Shore Medical Center. Kagla Nemutulu was arrested before leaving the complex, is being held at Ocean County Jail. 7:09, a tanker spill dumped 800 gallons of gasoline at the retro-styled Wawa on Rio Grande Avenue in Wildwood Sunday afternoon, prompting road closures and storm drain blockages to protect the nearby Back Bay. They didn't want the gas going there. Some heavy cleanup efforts of that gas lingered into the evening. The store was able to reopen late Sunday, and they did have gas available to the public by Monday. So there was no natural disaster there that occurred. Coming up on 7:10, a 68-year-old Bergen County doctor, Richard Tancer, allegedly facing charges of criminal sexual contact after allegedly inappropriately touching a female patient at his Little Ferry Office Family Medical Group on Friday. Tancer, a Montville resident, was arrested, being held at Bergen County Jail pending a court appearance. Authorities urge anyone with information to contact the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office. 7:10, the city of Plainfield united for a storm recovery benefit concert at Plainfield High on Sunday. They raised over $85,000 after two deadly storms struck on July 3rd and the 14th, claiming a total of 4 lives, 2 for each in that same area. 2 people early July got swept into the creek there, and on the 14th, 2 more who were in a car got swept in. In total, 4 lives claimed. That caused widespread damage. Almost every home was touched in some way in Plainfield. The funds will support a storm recovery grant program to help residents cover funeral costs and property repairs. Mayor Adrian Mapp emphasized community solidarity, saying, quote, "We come together in times of crisis to help each other." 7-Eleven, a new report reveals that regular energy consumers, not corporations, are actually footing the bill for the AI boom's surging power demands. Data centers, critical for AI operations, drove a $9 billion spike in power costs from 2024 to 2025, according to Monitoring Analytics. So let me explain a little bit better here. A couple of years ago, New Jersey's liberal politicians insisted on shutting down 5, 6 power plants in the state because they weren't green enough. Simultaneously, they wanted all of us to switch over to EVs, electric vehicles, which require a huge draw of power. So literally, they shut down power plants at a time when we needed more power. In come data centers. Now, the data centers are two things. Number one, they're cloud storage for your devices, your computers. That takes huge amounts of electricity. Literally, a power plant can service a data center alone, let alone all the customers there. Add to that AI. AI started coming about in a way in the last 2 years that it didn't exist before, nowhere near this. 2 years ago, we didn't even hear about AI. Now, every company is trying to out AI the other. Well, these super brains require cities of electricity. So the wonderful folks of New Jersey in politics in Trenton got rid of 6 power plants before we could build so-called green plants at a time when electric demand is at its highest. The result, a 20% hike in electric costs last year and a 20% hike in electric costs this year because of supply and demand. Because they want the power consumers to come here, but they don't have power to give them. That's what you get with Democrats, folks. So the average monthly increase, that includes people who have little apartments, etc., $25 a month. That is the average, and that's when you account for 13 different states served by PJM Interconnection. That's the power company that is interconnected to New Jersey. So as we demand more power than we could make, PJM draws from other states and charges us for importing power. Hope you follow all that. Experts warn that without separating data centers from regular power grids, costs could keep rising. So when you hear companies like Google wanting to build a nuclear power plant just for their facilities, let them do it. Let them do it because they need to do it because they're drawing too much on us. And as a result, we are footing the bill. A new Wallet Hub study ranks New Jersey third for the best public school system in 2025, excelling in reading and math scores with 8.6% of its schools in the nation's top 700. The state boasts a strong pupil to teacher ratio and a dedicated digital learning plan. The study, comparing 50 states and DC across 32 metrics, highlights New Jersey's focus on quality education and safety. The problem is, and if you talk to any teacher in New Jersey, it's the haves and the have-nots. The wealthier districts have students with more intact households, so the students don't come with the stresses of not having food, not having stress, et cetera, et cetera. So in the wealthier districts, you have incredible school districts. You have students doing really well. In the poorer districts, it seems that no matter how much money we throw at the problem, until we address the main root of the problem, we're not going to fix the problem. 714, former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg failed to replace outdated air traffic control systems while he was in office, with his agency instead, get this, shelling out tens of billions of dollars on a DEI agenda. That according to federal spending records and airline industry insiders. In one meeting, Buttigieg, who is said to be eyeing a 2028 presidential run, told industry execs that air traffic control upgrades would just allow them to fly more planes. And quote, so why would we want to do that? Asshole. What an asshole. What his department was really interested in was handing out hundreds of diversity, equity, and inclusion grants totaling more than $80 billion over 4 years. That is at least half the DOT's entire budget. The DOT, not just the FAA, the DOT's entire budget for a typical fiscal year. So you wonder why highways were crumbling and bridges were crumbling. You wonder why the swing bridge connecting us to the in New Jersey is shut down and businesses are going out of business now. You could thank Pete Buttigieg because he took half of the total budget. He was worried about diversity, equity, and inclusion instead of worrying about putting in a new air traffic control system that was 80 years old and trying to fix that. Because he says, why would we want to increase the number of planes? You jerk, that's your job. But no, being a leftist, he's against that. Leftists would prefer humans to crawl in a hole and die because they don't think we have a right to cars. They don't think we have a right to anything that uses fossil fuels. They don't think we have a right to planes or trains. No, if you can't walk 2 blocks to do everything, you shouldn't do it. That's a socialist communist point of view. His father was a communist. He was a communist professor, in fact. And this jerk is a communist you see on the screen, this with that goofy smile. Sir, don't you ever run for president because hopefully people will wake up and not allow you to be. Buttigieg spent his time, by the way, in President Biden's cabinet blaming the airlines, by the way, for delays and vilifying the industry on the whole, while denying his department's DEI agenda led to any air traffic control staffing shortages. So he purposely did not fund upgrading the system and then blame the airlines for it because he's a jerk. He's a jerk. 7:16. It is now 63 degrees. When we come back, New Jersey Globe editor David Wildstein will have the latest on New Jersey's political scene with the Inside Edge. Sun and clouds today, highs low 80s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta returns with your full Garden State forecast. And we'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. Don't go away. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings for your Tuesday. I'm Ken Rosato. It is 7:18. Taking calls at 888-658-0234. Sun and clouds, highs low 80s. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the full Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. A very pleasant start to the day. Lots of sunshine, dry weather around. Feeling great all across New Jersey, even at the beaches where your highs climb into the low 80s today, even upper 70s. There in Long Branch, what a lovely feel to the afternoon. You may notice a few more clouds throughout the end of the day. That's usually because the easterly breeze tends to bring in slightly more cloud cover. But even further inland toward Trenton, could climb to 81. That's below average for a change, and we'll take that, especially given how hot it's been. The heat index right now, non-existent. It feels like it's in the 50s across most of Sussex County. Even back off to the west, all of this clear weather favoring our sunshine today. So back home to New Jersey, lots of clear sky today. Sunny, dry, could get a sunburn quite easily. Even though it's cool, that sun is still very strong. UV index at a 9, which is very high. So keep the sunscreen around even through this afternoon. Now, our weather remains dry going into tomorrow. Dew points, not going to be an issue until we get to this weekend where the temperature rises as well as the humidity, making it feel quite humid as we get into tomorrow and Thursday. Today, a little touch more humid over toward the beaches, maybe some extra cloud cover by the end of the day. Same for you tomorrow with that little bit of a southeasterly breeze pulling in some more clouds. It's Thursday, the southerly wind works in, and that makes it feel very warm and humid. Prevents us from getting any rain, however. I think we'll stay dry this week, but it's the forecast for Friday into Saturday that brings back all of that heat and humidity sticking around through this weekend, ultimately giving us some thunderstorms by Sunday afternoon. So you see those arrive here, those shades of green and yellow with the embedded orange. Those are the storms that push through on Sunday night, clearing for a beautiful Monday. Lots of clear sky again to start off next week, and most of next week looks warm and sunny as well. So the weekend forecast starts off hot. 92 on Saturday with that southeasterly breeze, 87 by Sunday, and it's due to those late day showers that come in by the end of the weekend. We'll tell you more about that with the weekend forecast, Ken, and the 7 day. It's coming up in just a few minutes.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate that. A beautiful 66 degrees right now. I mean, it's really pretty when you step outside. You're going to love it. This is something you're not going to love, though. We have a disabled truck on 495 eastbound east of Kennedy Boulevard in Union City. Check out this ugliness. And this is ugliness. That's what's being caused by that truck. I chuckle. But you see those middle lanes there? They haven't moved. Pam and I have had this camera shut up for about 5 minutes. We haven't seen anybody let their foot off the brake yet. They're just stopped. So this is caused by a disabled truck, 495 eastbound east of Kennedy Boulevard in Union City with the right lane blocked. And I guess they're trying to get that disabled truck off so that they can get those cars and trucks moving again. But that's what you got right now. What a mess. We also have a separate disabled truck on I-95 local lanes northbound at exit 72. So this is going to be in the vicinity. Let's go right to the I-95 95 approach if we could, Pam, if we could switch over, because it would be in that vicinity. So yeah, I'm not sure if this disabled truck is right before or after this camera shot, but nonetheless, you're seeing what we're being told is a 40-minute delay, upper and lower level, upper on the right, lower on the left, getting across the GWB. Delays at the Holland as well right now, about 20 minutes, not so bad, but nonetheless. And we do have delays also into the Lincoln, we're told, from Patterson Plank Road in Secaucus all the way through to the Lincoln Tunnel. We're told that's about a 25-minute delay. 722, Alina Habba, President Trump's pick as interim U.S. Attorney for New Jersey, faces a critical deadline today as her 120-day term expires without Senate confirmation. Facing opposition from Democratic senators, her fate now rests with federal judges deciding Monday whether to extend her tenure. Those federal judges are based in New Jersey, and they're all liberals appointed by mostly Obama and Biden. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche praised Habba's leadership, urging judges to keep her in place. But 13 of the 15 federal judges around in New Jersey were all appointed by liberal Democrats. And the two liberal senators, Andy Kim, he's so moderate. Bullshit. He is not moderate. The two liberal senators in New Jersey have a right to then suggest somebody for the position, and they don't like her. In fact, they've gone around saying that she is just the opposite, that Alina Habba, who is a very experienced attorney, is not qualified, whatever. 723, New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy not ruling out redistricting as Texas and California consider new congressional maps amid Republican efforts to bolster GOP seats in Texas. Democrats led by House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries are exploring counter moves in states like New Jersey. In other words, they already have the House, I should say the Assembly and the Senate in New Jersey, but let's make sure that Republicans could never have anyone elected again because Democrats play dirty, folks. Murphy hasn't yet discussed plans with national Democrats, but he hinted at future talks saying, quote, never bring a knife to a gunfight. That's the way. They don't give a shit about you. They only care about winning. That's Democrats, folks. New Jersey's options are limited. We hold 9 of 12 congressional seats. The Democrats do. I should say not we, they. And any map change would require altering state law, but they control everything, so they could. And New Jersey Attorney General Matthew Platkin, I call him the socialist, dismissed accusations from State Senator James Beach as outrageous and wrong after Beach claimed that Platkin is using his office for political vendettas. Because he is! Because he is! Everything he has done, Platkin, has been a political vendetta since he got in. It's like, don't believe your own eyes, believe me. Beach is a Camden County Democrat. Yes, another Democrat. Called for legislative hearings on Platkin's alleged mismanagement, citing a dismissed racketeering case against ally George Norcross. So yes. See, when fellow Democrats are calling that jerk that you see on the screen right there, when they say that he is crooked, maybe you should listen. Platkin urged lawmakers to focus on improving lives rather than political attacks. No, Platkin, you are the state attorney general. If somebody committed a crime, it is your job to represent us to go after them. Not if they're a political ally, you leave it alone, but then you criticize Republicans for everything, which is what you do. Beach also sponsors a bill to remove state police from Platkin's oversight. So then Platkins will be walking late at night by himself. Not that we're suggesting anything be done. Just saying. We never, ever want violence, but Platkin is a jerk. That's all. Yell at him and send him letters, but leave it at that. 725, New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy's administration has begun distributing property tax relief to about 125,000 senior and disabled homeowners through the so-called Senior Freeze program. It follows a record $4 billion budget allocation for tax relief. However, the money comes from someone. So everybody else in the state pays more money so that seniors get a cutoff point. So that I believe, up to a certain amount, they'll pay like $6,500 a year in property tax. It won't keep going up, which is good. The average property tax for citizens of New Jersey averaged just over $10,000 last year, which is double most other states. Just ridiculous. And former Lieutenant Governor Kim Guadagno's official portrait was unveiled at the New Jersey State House yesterday, joined by Governor Phil Murphy and former Governor Chris Christie. Guadagno, the state's first lieutenant governor from 2010 to 2018, was praised for shaping the role in managing elections post-Hurricane Sandy. Remember, before we had a lieutenant governor, which is a paid position, we used to let the Senate president sit in when the governor was out of state. So Senator Cody used to do that and be the acting lieutenant governor. But now we have the position, although it does cost us money. It's a nice portrait, I think. Very nice. She's an attractive lady. That's a very, very nice portrait. Painted by Liza Amir, or Lisa Amir, Liza. I'm not sure. Please forgive me if I'm mispronouncing. The portrait will hang in the lieutenant governor's office, with the late Sheila Oliver's portrait to be unveiled next month. 2 firefighters were hurt Sunday at a Bayonne house fire. They were able to get out a resident who was also hurt. The fire started on the first floor of a home on West 22nd Street. It spread to the attic. Rescuers also saved a number of cats during the blaze. Officials are now investigating the cause. 727, time for politics from Trenton, explained like no one else can do it. Here's New Jersey Globe editor David Wildstein with the Inside Edge.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Inside Edge. It's Tuesday, July 21st. Alina Habba's 120-day stint as the interim U.S. Attorney for New Jersey ends today. The state's federal judges held a meeting on Monday. They haven't announced the results of that vote. I'm going to wait for confirmation before I report on Habba's fate. There was a point nearly 25 years ago when New Jersey's federal judiciary came close to getting a divorce. In 2001, U.S. Senators Bob Torricelli and John Corzine and 2 South Jersey congressmen, Rob Andrews and Jim Saxton, proposed breaking up the state's 21 county district of New Jersey and giving South Jersey its own U.S. attorney and federal judges. This new district of South Jersey was geographically ambiguous. Now, get this map. It included the traditional view of South Jersey: Atlantic, Burlington, Camden, Cape May, Cumberland, Gloucester, and Salem. But it also would have added Mercer, Monmouth, Ocean, Hunterdon, Somerset, and Warren counties. New Jersey's federal judges held a vote on the proposal in March of 2001, and it passed by a narrow 10-9 margin. 6 U.S. District Court judges who sat in Camden voted in favor of splitting the state in 2. They were joined by 4 judges sitting in Newark. 6 additional judges at the Newark Federal Courthouse voted against the plan. They were joined by 3 judges sitting in Trenton, and 3 judges didn't vote. The plan to split up the District of New Jersey went to the Third Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals in September 2001. Their Judicial Council voted 11-10 to retain just 1 U.S. attorney and the federal bench. And, that would have had a massive impact on New Jersey's political history. It would have removed a significant portion of the state from the jurisdiction of Chris Christie, who had not yet been nominated by President George W. Bush as the U.S. attorney. That might have changed the future governor's political trajectory. Had that measure been approved, it possibly would have taken Christie out of a statewide role for 7 years, a role that helped him build a base that enabled him to beat John Corzine. Cases like Solomon Dweck or Operation Bid Rig or the indictment of former state Senator Wayne Bryant, the prosecution of the 2007 plot to attack Fort Dix, they all would have wound up under the jurisdiction of another U.S. attorney. And make no mistake, Democratic powerhouse George Norcross would have played an outsized role in selecting a U.S. attorney for the District of South Jersey, and most certainly after Democrats regained the White House in 2008. That's it for today, and I'll be back tomorrow.
Very good, good, good. Thank you, sir. 7:31. It is a beautiful 64 degrees. When we come back, a groundbreaking advancement in the fight against Alzheimer's disease. We will explain. The phone lines are open, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Sun and clouds today, highs low 80s. The full Garden State forecast with meteorologist Mike Favetta in just a moment. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings, seen daily at ONNJ.com, Roku, Fire TV, News On, Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, and X, and now streamed live on Rumble and Twitch at twitch.tv/OnNewJersey. 7:31. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Jeanette Hoffman, host of Energy Matters. Join me every night at 6 p.m. where we're discussing energy affordability, challenges, and solutions with stakeholders and elected officials. Join me weekdays at 6 p.m. on Energy Matters on ONNJ.
Good morning, 64 degrees, 7:32, Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to On New Jersey Morning. Sun and clouds today, highs low 80s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the detailed Garden State forecast. And I sent Mike an email yesterday because I'm an old school guy, I send emails. I didn't even say anything, right? It was just a picture of my basil.
Uh-huh.
That's what Italians do.
Did you get my
It's
reply?
like, hey, yes,
Yeah.
I saw.
That was
Thank you
it.
very much for replying. It is what it is. It's like Italians are proud of their kids and their
It's so
basil.
true. Yeah, I mean, ever since I was young, I'd be like, come on, let's go take a tour of my garden. And yet here we are with just a couple basil plants. Couldn't make me happier. But it comes in handy, when you want to throw together a quick meal, especially when you have all of the bounties of the summer produce here in New Jersey. You can enjoy and add some flavor with some fresh herbs for free.
By the way, I
I've
have
seen
to
the
tell you
price of
something.
herbs in the
You want to hear?
Yeah,
You want to hear
let's hear.
stupid? This is stupid. I don't want to pick my own basil yet. So I keep buying it. My husband keeps saying, "Why are you buying basil?
no.
You have a bush
Stop.
right on the
Come
balcony."
on.
I'm like, I don't want to pick it yet. I don't want to pick it yet. Okay, I thought I would share. I literally have not picked a leaf off those beautiful basil plants. And I should because they're going to go to
You
seed soon.
should. Yeah, you know this. But all right. Well,
It's like you don't want to acknowledge your child as an adult now and they have to go off to school.
I
All right,
know.
I'll
My son
stop.
was born in December. It feels like he starts high school in the fall. I mean, it's they grow so quickly, and yet here we
It's going to
are.
come before you know it. It's going to come
Kids
before you know
crawling
it. I hope
everywhere.
you
We
enjoy
can't keep
every
up
moment.
with him. Yeah, I know. Even the dog is like, oh, crawling already? I'm not ready for this. Well, hey, our forecast brings back weather that makes it beautiful outside today. Lots of sunshine, dry weather, low humidity. Feels awesome. And it's that lovely round of energy that'll be pleasant again throughout our forecast today. There could be some more clouds this afternoon, especially across central and southern New Jersey, due to the little bit of an easterly breeze. But as far as the heat and humidity, that's back by tomorrow night into Thursday, and then you'll really feel the heat turn on by the time we get to Friday. As far as the present, you see those high thin clouds now working in over northern sections of Monmouth County. Those will be present pretty much most of the day into this afternoon. Even towards South Jersey, you could find some clouds as well. So as temperatures climb into the mid 80s, just a lovely day to be out toward the beaches. What an afternoon from Glassboro and Hamilton. The heat index, something's wrong with the heat index today, but we'll get to that. I think that by the end of the week, it gets really warm. We're not going to get any records broken today. No 108 like back in 2011. Wow, that was hot. But our forecast brings back plenty of clear sky and cooler weather through this afternoon. So a nice pleasant feel. Great day to head toward the beaches. Water temperatures sit in the low and mid 70s, and there's your high tides later on this afternoon, closer to this evening as everybody leaves the beaches for dinner, anywhere between 6 and 7 p.m. Speaking of the beaches, very high UV, surf 1 to 2 feet, water temperatures in the 70s. When that sunset at 8:21 this evening, with partly sunny skies again, due to the fact that there's a little bit more cloud cover towards central New Jersey. And the only place with a low or a moderate risk of rip currents is along the Long Island beaches. The reason for that crosswind, as the wind comes from the east, blows perpendicular to the shore. So parallel to the shore, rather, as it blows perpendicular to the shore along the New Jersey coastline, brings back that low risk of rip currents today. Now, here's the high pressure swinging out to sea. Notice there's not a whole lot of things going on this map. It is quiet, it is dry, and it stays that way at least through the middle of the week. Once we get into Thursday, Friday timeframe, I think we'll see a little bit more in the way of cloud cover, as well as heat and humidity. 93 on Thursday, 97 on Friday, feels like well over 100. And then as we head into Saturday, 92. So the weekend starts off very hot, stays sticky, but I think the showers by Sunday afternoon and evening begin to cool us down and keep us warm even going into Monday. Head toward the beaches, you'll find a little bit of relief there. Getting only up to 91 on Friday and Saturday, but it's still hot and quite humid. Sunday brings back a little bit of a cooling relief with those showers and clouds, but even toward the beaches, dry weather all around. That high pressure doing a great job of like kicking out the storms, keeping everything away. It's like shooing away the clouds. It'll be nice going into this weekend. Just hot.
Can't wait. Can't wait, sir. Thank you very much. It is 65 degrees, beautiful sunshine this morning, very dry, really a lovely morning, but the roadways are ugly as hell today. Take a look right now. Let's start with this is 495 at Columbia Avenue, camera number 1. So this is just before you get to the Lincoln Tunnel. You could see Manhattan in the background there. And we are told that we have a disabled truck on 495 eastbound east of Kennedy Boulevard in Union City. Now 2 right lanes are blocked. Originally, we just had 1. Now there are 2 right lanes blocked, and that's causing a massive delay getting in. So if you're headed to the Lincoln Tunnel, that's what you're going to have to encounter. Doesn't get much better if you look over at the New Jersey Turnpike, because we are told that there's a disabled truck now on the eastern spur of the Turnpike outside interchange 16E. So now, okay, this is all connected. That will eventually take you to 495 where we have the other issue. So first, these people are going to encounter that. That almost looks like a still picture. That's a moving shot there. Those people are just jammed and not moving. So those people first have a disabled truck blocking them. Then when they get past the disabled truck, they have the 2 right lanes closed with a disabled vehicle on 495. So if you are where those people are right there and you're taking the Lincoln Tunnel in, it's probably going to be a good hour before you make your way into Manhattan. Delays on I-80 right now westbound at exit 53 by Route 46 in Wayne. The lanes are open, but there's a lot of volume at this hour. And the approaches to the, other than the Lincoln Tunnel, the approach via the Holland Tunnel to the Hudson River right now is about a 20 to 25 minute crossover. 8095 approach to the GWB, fairly heavy. You could see the lower level on the left is not moving at all. Upper level on the right moving just a little bit. We are told it's 45 minutes lower level and about 40 minutes on the upper. 738, a groundbreaking advancement in the fight against Alzheimer's disease has just been announced. The FDA has approved the first ever blood test for diagnosing this devastating form of dementia. The test is called LumaPulse. It promises a simpler, less invasive, and more accessible way to detect Alzheimer's early, offering hope to millions. Joining us now is Dr. Michael Snyder-Beery, who is the director of the Herbert and Jacqueline Krieger Klein Alzheimer's Research Center at Rutgers Brain Health Institute. That is a mouthful. To discuss this game-changing development, Dr. Beery, thank you for being with us. When I was a kid, it was rare that you even heard of somebody with Alzheimer's or dementia. Today, everyone has a parent with dementia, it seems, and then there's the percentage with Alzheimer's. Why is this happening, and why is this FDA-approved blood test now being called the turning point in Alzheimer's diagnosis?
I'll just fix you, and it's Michal, it's not Mike, although I forgive you because everyone gets confused. So first, the reason why why the prevalence, the frequency of Alzheimer's disease is so huge in the world now is because the world is aging, because medicine is great, it's getting better, and we don't die early. And this disease is a disease of aging. If there are about 5% Alzheimer's disease patients at the age of 65, at the age of 85, it's about 50% of the population that will have Alzheimer's disease or other dementias. The reason why this is so important is the following. Up to 3-4 years ago, there were medications for Alzheimer's disease that were very, let's say, had very limited effects, beneficial effects on the patient's behavior and the patient's memory and the patient's cognition. About 3 years ago, a series of medications called monoclonal antibodies for amyloid. So amyloid is the pathology that aggregates in the brain of the Alzheimer's patient, and those drugs actually go into the brain. They break down that pathology. So 3 medications were approved by the FDA that do that, right? That break that pathology away from the brain. Their effect on cognition is not as amazing, it's not as strong and good as their effect on the pathology, but still they change the course of disease. So if a person was planned to have a trajectory going down like this, now with those drugs, the trajectory is slower. To be eligible for such a drug, you need to have amyloid in the brain because the drug breaks amyloid. Up to not too long ago, up to 10 years ago, 15 years ago, the only way to diagnose fully Alzheimer's disease was only after the person died. Now we developed certain tests that could measure in the cerebral spinal fluid if you have amyloid, and eventually also PET-CT, okay, which is a screening of the brain that you inject a tracer that goes, looks for amyloid, makes it shine, and then you know it's there and where it is. The thing is that most of the places in the world don't have a PET-CT, right? So that would be a rich people kind of assessment. This blood draw is able to assess 92% of the time correctly if you have amyloid in the brain. And therefore, it is a big deal that now anywhere in the world, anywhere in our country here, you have a clinic that can take a blood draw and send it to the right lab, assess if there is amyloid or not. Now
So
there
this
is,
is,
please.
excuse me for jumping in. I'm sorry, just because we're down to about 3 minutes. And doctor, forgive me for mispronouncing your name, Dr. Mikhail. I'm sorry, I
That's fine.
mispronounced.
I
It's early.
appreciate
I apologize. So this, if I could, because, and I ask also from a personal level, my mother had a hemorrhagic stroke and she was diagnosed with amyloids in her brain. She had amyloid plaque in her brain. And my father has advanced dementia. So I'm listening very intently. And apparently Lumipulse measures 2 of the proteins in that blood test. So the p-tau217 and the beta amyloid 142. So are these the 2 proteins that apparently make up the plaques, the amyloid plaques in the brain, and that's how you're able to detect it with such accuracy?
Yeah, it's a little more complicated than that, but generally speaking, what you're saying is right. Okay, the ratio of the 2 is what most well predicts the presence of the plaque in the brain. Okay.
That's fascinating. And
Yeah.
this is a simple blood draw. So any doctor anywhere in the world could take this blood draw and then basically send it to a lab that can detect this with 92% accuracy. That there are many tests today that don't have that kind of accuracy. So this is a game changer for
It
people with
is a game
Alzheimer's, for
changer.
wealthy or poor.
But I do want, for the audience, I want to make something very clear. This is good for people who have already some symptoms, okay? And this is very important to me to say because endless people have contacted me that have absolutely no cognitive impairment. And they say, hey, I want to know if I have it or not. And when there is no cognitive impairment, the test does not predict well. Okay, it predicts well if there is cognitive impairment, which is the ultimate clinical outcome of the aggregation of plaque in the brain. So I ask people to be careful. If there is cognitive impairment, it's worth going to the doctor irrespective of the test to be examined, to see if there is anything else that is causing the cognitive impairment. And now, because there are medications that could slow down the course of the disease, then this test could tell you if you're eligible or not
Yeah, and we're
for the
talking
drug.
just a short time ago, there was we had no way to detect Alzheimer's. You just saw people turn to nothing, which breaks my heart because I've seen it in my friends' parents. They literally go from a fully function. A friend was a doctor, and I watched him go from a brilliant brain to just a life that he would never have wanted to live, and it broke my heart to see that. So this is definitely the game changer, Dr. Michael Schneider Beery. We need to have you on for a full length show because this is so important and your research and what you've discovered here is life altering. So we need to have you back. If you would please come back so we can do a long show on this. You are the director of the Herbert and Jacqueline Krieger Klein Alzheimer's Research Center at Rutgers Brain Health Institute. We are so lucky to have you, and thank you so much for joining us this morning. And please come back.
Thank you. I'll be back. I'll be back. Thank you so
Please,
much.
please. This is too
Thank you.
important. I just so many people who have Alzheimer's and dementia right now, and that is the game changer. All right, it is now 7:46. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, people are out in the sun a lot. They're doing a lot of bad stuff with their skin, not taking care of their skin, the biggest organ of the body. We're going to speak with a board-certified plastic surgeon known for helping people who don't take care of their skin and other issues with their body and talk about some natural results. Sun and clouds today, highs in the low 80s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta will return with your full Garden State forecast. You're watching ONNJ Mornings. We'll be back in 30. Welcome back to ONNJ Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, 747, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Sun and clouds today, highs low 80s. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the delightful Garden State forecast. We don't get to pull
Yes.
out the word delightful. I dusted it off, took off a cobweb. I think it applies today.
It was. It was stuck there buried in the weeds after so much heat and humidity. But hey, we're enjoying the delightful weather today. It kind of adds a little spring to your step when you don't have to suffer with all of that heavy air and the pollutants and all the ozone and just the yuck. Well, now it's back to a pleasantly dry feel. And a high of 81 in Hackensack. That'll feel great even down by the waterfront in Jersey City, 81, and back over toward Hackettstown, maybe up in the hills of Sussex, 80 as your high. Air quality is fantastic thanks to a nice dry breeze from the north, lowering that air quality all the way down to the closer to zero, the better. And it's healthy. Even down toward the shore points, you might find slightly less healthy air there thanks to that wind coming off of the water. But beyond that, we're looking good today. Down in the tropics, we had this area of thunderstorms that was starting to spin around, and now the Hurricane Center says, no, not a problem, not expected to develop in the next week or so. Even the Gulf of Mexico, nice and quiet, even though water temperature is warming through the mid 80s. Have to have a water temperature of 80 or greater to promote hurricane development, but there also has to be a lot of other factors like storms and less wind. But right now, we're quiet. Back off to the southwest, there's a lot of heat coming throughout the beginning of August. Here in New Jersey, though, I think we'll start to see a little bit of a warm up, but overall it'll average out. Equal chances of warm versus cool, slightly higher than normal rain chances through the end of the month. As far as this week, it's pretty dry going forward. Dry today, dry tomorrow, hot and humid beginning Thursday, very warm on Friday, 97 as the air temperature, but it'll feel like it's in the low hundreds. And then by Saturday, our third day in a row of 90-plus degree heat. There will be some humidity breaking with the storms on Sunday, but it'll still warm into the upper 80s, and we stay warm as well into early next week. So that comfortable feeling down the shore as well, maybe a few extra clouds at the beaches, and then by Friday, still low 90s. The weekend looking great until we get to Sunday afternoon. Our next chance for some storms. Monday clears out nicely. So I think we squeeze out at least the first half, Ken, of another beautiful weekend here in New Jersey. We've been striking several in a row, so we'll keep that trend going at least through the end of the month.
crossing everything I got. All right,
Uh-huh.
Mike, thank you very much indeed. 66 degrees, 749. We do have a little traffic to talk about, but it is getting better. That's the good news. So we had that, we told you about an issue on 495 with a disabled truck eastbound east of Kennedy Boulevard in Union City with two right lanes blocked. Take a look now. They have cleared that. And you can see traffic is still very heavy, but beginning to move as you make your way toward the Lincoln Tunnel. I know that's ugly and I know that's heavy, but that was parked 10 minutes ago. So it is now moving, and that is the good news. I always try to have a bit of good news for you if we can. We have delays on the Garden State Parkway southbound, exiting 130B, which is by US 1 in Woodbridge Township. Delays at the Holland. The South Tunnel eastbound is now 20 minutes in just from volume, everybody going to that tunnel. Let's take a look at another camera right now. This is New Jersey's 495. This is the turnpike. This exit here by 16. I'm sorry, by 14C. Now that's the Holland Tunnel's 14C. Excuse me. This exit 16E. This is 16E. So this will take you to 495 to the Lincoln Tunnel. This is still a residual backup and an absolute mess. That looks like a still picture. It is not. That's video live, and you can see everybody stopped. There's another disabled vehicle ahead on the right side causing this mess, and I guess emergency vehicles must be on the scene clearing it up. So your best thing to do is avoid the Lincoln Tunnel approaches right now. Your best bet is to go to the GWB. Let's take a look at the 8985 approach if we can, upper and lower levels. Even though it's still heavy, it is moving. So we're told we got 35 to 40 across the GWB. Very heavy. Your upper level on the right is still your better bet, or take mass transit. This is a tough travel day all around. 7:51 right now. Dr. John Paul Tutela is a board-certified plastic surgeon based in East Hanover, New Jersey, a third-generation physician. He grew up just blocks from where he now practices. Great area. I love East Hanover. Hey, we'll talk about our favorite bakery if we can, Doc. Known for his natural results and work with celebrities, he recently opened T-Spa, blending surgical and non-surgical treatments in a relaxed modern space. Dr. Tutela joins us to talk summer skincare, aesthetic trends, and what patients are really asking for right now. Good morning. If you're in East Hanover and you've been there for generations, there's only one bakery in town that everybody goes to.
Sorrento.
Of course. The owner is a good buddy. I do the Columbus Day parade every year there. So it's a wonderful
fantastic
town you live. It is the best. I'm sorry. I'll do the Italian digression if I don't stop. Dr. Tutela, God bless you. And you're a third generation physician with deep roots, of course, in New Jersey. So what a beautiful, I love the logo back there. It's gorgeous. What inspired you to open T-Spa? And how would you say it's different from the typical quote unquote plastic surgery office?
Yeah. So, as my practice was growing, just needed more space, and that kind of just started everything. And I realized I was going to kind of bring in a lot of the med spa world into my own practice. And there really wasn't a location to go to where you could be certain everything was vetted. This is my plastic surgery office and a med spa. Board certified plastic surgeon, really running the show. And there's been, a lot of med spas that have been opening up lately, and you're not really certain who's calling the shots, who's in charge, what kind of training they've had. So I kind of wanted to create something that, took that question out of it and made it very obvious that you were in the right place for this kind of care.
I have to ask you, Doc, because I've seen online, I do this research. We did a story when I was still at Channel 7 a few years ago of Chinese knockoffs of these machines, many of the machines you use in the med spas, right?
Sure.
Chinese knockoffs that you go into like, and I don't want to stigmatize North Bergen or whatever, Bergen Line Avenue. You go in, but you know what I'm talking about. You go into
Yep.
some of the nail salons, and in the back they have the Chinese $5,000 knockoff of the $250,000 machine that you have in the med spa, and they claim it's the same thing. We don't know what this stuff is doing to your body. We
Right.
don't know if these people had 1 second of training. Does that bother you? Does that concern you as a physician when you have the equipment that's been tested, it's been approved, and you know how to use it? And then you have people who otherwise take the nail polish off your fingers, no offense to them, and they're doing it for, yeah, give me $50 and I'll do it in the back room.
Yeah. Well, in the last few years, it really has become a little bit of the Wild West. And not that I'm, necessarily concerned that every place is like this, but I felt like there was just a need for a place where those questions weren't there, and that you just knew you were going to a place that was vetted, by a board certified plastic surgeon who does the research to kind of provide the appropriate care for the appropriate patient, and know that you're in good hands.
That's amazing. By the way, is your training more in surgery, dermatology, or some combination? I'm just curious because I know plastic surgeons come from different backgrounds of medical training, and I'm just wondering which route you took.
Sure. I'm a surgeon by training. Did 6 years of general surgery, followed by 3 years of plastic surgery. And that's the bulk of my practice is plastic surgery, breast and body cosmetic surgery, and breast cancer reconstruction.
Amazing. And that is why you want to go to, and I'm not just because you're on here, you want to go to a person with that experience. If you're going to have somebody cut on your body, especially for aesthetic reasons, you don't want to go to somebody who doesn't have surgical experience like that and training like that. So it's just amazing that you have people in some parts of the country with they were a dentist 2 weeks ago and they want to be a plastic surgeon. There's a reason why you have board certification and training like this. Um, do you think, what would you say, I should say, the majority of patients coming into there, is there one particular treatment they're looking for more than others? Is it a seasonal thing? Like in the summer, are they looking more for skin? Like, I would love to come in and do that. I'm just saying, I lost a lot of weight, doctor, and I have turkey neck. And at 58, this is all that bothers me every time I'm on camera. I keep doing this. I want to put clothespins behind my neck. But what are there specific treatments that people are looking for this at different seasons, if you will, or is it
Sure.
just it all depends?
It definitely can be seasonal. A lot of times in the summertime, the surgical schedule kind of gets a little slower as people don't want to recover. They want to be at the beach. And so a little bit more focus on things with very little to no downtime, like injectables, Botox and filler, and some skin treatments like facials, dermaplaning. Some lasers are okay in the summer. Some kind of are better in the fall when you're getting out of the summer, and that, some people think of the fall as laser season because, they could be irritating to your skin, especially if
Mhm.
you're like out in the sun all week. So people kind of save those more aggressive lasers for the fall. And then that's when surgery, starts to pick up again. And most of my patients are, just kind of everyday people who saved up their money. A lot of them are moms who are going through, a period of time where now they have a little bit of time on their hands and can focus on themselves. So something like a mommy makeover is something that, I'm known for, is what people, kind of search me out for.
And you worked with a lot of celebs too, and we'll talk about that, please. I remember, no matter who you are, celeb or not, it's still surgery. So give yourselves time when you're going to have work done, right? I had a meteorologist I worked with years ago in Miami, and he was getting older, sweetheart of a guy, but I know his contract was coming up. He decided to have a facelift. I think it was
Mhm.
supposed to be a mini lift, and he came back to work way too soon and his face was so swollen and he still literally had wounds you could see. And I thought, are you out of your mind? You just stay home, rest and heal. But he could barely keep his eyes open. And I'm really, you're laughing because you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's still surgery. Let yourself heal, let yourself rest. And I think too many people think they're going to wake up and it's going to look perfect. It takes months, but your body will heal. And I've seen people a month after surgery and a year after surgery, and it's amazing. A month after surgery, you think it's going to look terrible, and a year after surgery, it looks beautiful. It just takes time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It takes time, and all these things are decisions that shouldn't be taken lightly, and that's something that in the age of social media and Instagram, where, I'm, pretty well known, uh, everything looks very easy. Everything looks like it's a quick, recovery, and that it's just this small thing. all these decisions need to be made, with the proper, foresight and thought, and that they're major operations, and you need to go to the right person for it.
And if you were to start, like for instance, say somebody you hit middle age, and I'm pointing to myself, I'm 58, you hit middle age, and you have the little lines here, and you want a little something. There are ways you can start before you go to the point of surgery, right? You have injectables, you have some of the machines. Do the machines work, or are they just temporary fixes that tone up the muscle layer underneath the subcutaneous, muscle layer there?
Yeah, absolutely. There's, a whole world of what I like to call non-surgical facial rejuvenation, which really involves a few different things. And a lot of times, if you do a little bit from each category, you get a nice kind of natural result without looking overdone. And so those things are like, Botox, which kind of helps get rid of the lines in the top part of your face here, here, and here. Fillers can then add a little volume where you've lost it, get some of the harsh shadows out of the center of your face. And then things like skincare and then the energy devices both help the quality of your skin itself. So the collagen, organization and just the amount of collagen, and those things all help, smooth out fine lines and texture abnormalities and some color changes like dark spots and red spots. And so there's really a whole world of things that you can do before you get to the point of surgery. I think it's important to know that even after you do have surgery, these things are important for maintenance. The day after surgery, time marches on. And one thing doesn't obviate the other. They're really best when they're used together.
And there are all sorts of lasers now too, I'm sure. Do you work with the different color and frequency lasers for the various purposes, right? The different frequencies do different things, some for
Y-
acne, some for scars, etc.
Yes, exactly. They kind of have targets of color, whether they're dark spots or red spots, or if you're trying to get rid of hair, which is a dark follicle, it targets that dark color. And then there's other lasers that are not so much for color correction, but they're for texture abnormalities and smoothing out fine lines and wrinkles, and those kind of work a little bit deeper, and they literally drill microscopic holes into your skin, add a
Mhm.
little bit of heat to make them contract a little bit, creates collagen formation, and then all of that together helps, tighten up a little bit of looseness. I would say those don't work like surgery as far as tightening loose skin. It's really more on a subtle spectrum. So it's also important to know your patients and how to manage expectations, and allow them to realize what's realistic. And you can't sell somebody a service promising the world and knowing it's not going to do that. And I think that's a fine line, and it's nice to come to a place that can either offer energy devices or skin removal and everything in between. And when you graduate from needing one thing to another, you're still able to perform.
This is fascinating. I mean, like for instance, I've gone from 360 to 180 pounds, but I did it slowly over a period of
Yeah,
years. So my skin
congrats.
is,
That's awesome.
thank you. The skin is okay. I have friends who've done it way more quickly, or I'm sure a lot of the folks have come in with Ozempic weight loss, where they've lost 50 pounds in a period of 8 months. And I'm sure that causes a lot of looseness in the skin. Also, the age of the person, their ethnic background also has a lot to do with it. So it, I'm sure when somebody has skin that is like that, you can't do the little laser. That's where you're talking about having to make a little incision and
Ex-
pull. Am I correct
Exactly.
based on what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
this is why you have the training you have.
Right.
And you clearly know with all your years of experience, this is why people want to go to and need to go to an experienced person. You don't want somebody who will experiment on you. Dr.
Yeah.
Paul Tutela, we got to have you back. We could do whole shows on this because
Thank you.
I'm sure every party you go to, you get pulled over and somebody says, "Hey,
Yes.
right? It is what it is.
Yep.
Everybody wants to look their best self, and everybody always has that one thing they want taken care of. See that bump on my head right there, doc? Gotta
Yeah.
have that taken
I
care of.
got you.
It's a seroma. I got a seroma. Gotta take care
All
of
right.
that. All right, doctor, how can people get more information? Tell everybody your website. You have like 2 million followers. What do you got on the
Sure.
website?
I'm on Instagram is TSPA or Tutela PS for Tutela Plastic Surgery. That's probably the easiest way to find my work and a way to get a hold of me.
Awesome. Well, listen, someday we'll meet at the bakery. We'll have a nice cup of cappuccino and a
Uh,
little something light, a little something
I love
light.
the
All
sound of
right.
that.
Yes, done deal. It is a pleasure having you on. Please come back again, Dr. John Paul Tutela, board certified plastic surgeon based right in East Hanover, New Jersey. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Thank you. 8:05 right now. You know what? Let's forego the break, Pam. Let's go take it right to Mike. It is, I was too caught up in the surgery. We have a beautiful morning right here, 67 degrees. And Mike, I know you're too young for it, but for someone like me, literally every time the doctor said anything, I kept looking at myself on the screen thinking, something. See if I do a cut right here. See, I could pull it back. I'm thinking I could just use clothespins though during the show. No one would know the difference.
Oh
Of course,
my
at the end of the show,
goodness.
I'd have purple skin. What do you think? No, okay, I'll think about it.
Yeah,
But my side just it's not
nah, Ken, you look great. You look great. As long as you use
nice.
that sunscreen on a day like today,
Yes,
A-okay, right? Exactly.
absolutely. You're
Got
right.
some great weather. Yeah, some great weather around through this afternoon, especially with the clear sky that's across New Jersey. Refreshing breezes right now from the north, making it feel nice and cool up in northern New Jersey. 63 degrees in Sussex, warming now to 74 in Long Branch. This is still cooler than this time yesterday by 9 degrees up in Sussex, 7 degrees cooler than this time yesterday in Newark, and 4 degrees cooler in Medford. It's also that dew point or the temperature where the air is saturated down in the 50s. That is comfortably dry. Look at that, 48 degrees in Hackensack. Very pleasant. That's like a fall feel. But you head down the shore, and with that little bit of an easterly breeze, it feels more humid with the dew points there in the 60s. So as we head into this afternoon, we keep it dry, lots of sunshine around, maybe some clouds developing toward Monmouth and Ocean County thanks to a little bit of a wind shift. By 11 a.m., those breezes start to blow in from the east and promote a little bit of a healthy wind off of the water. That tends to create some cloud cover, and that could be the case even going into tomorrow. You can see it here with the Futurecast. Northern New Jersey stays sunny and dry, but central and southern New Jersey could have a few extra clouds, maybe some darker clouds, giving certain locations a little sprinkle. But again, beyond that, warm as temperatures climb into the mid 80s today. We stay clear throughout this evening into tomorrow, and with that, nice and dry going into tomorrow afternoon. Look at the Futurecast by this weekend. Lots of sunshine around for Friday, but heat and humidity return, making it feel very warm as we head into the weekend. 99 degrees in Trenton. That's Friday afternoon. 99 in Hackensack. That's the actual air temperature. When you factor in the heat index, it'll feel so much hotter, like it's in the low 100s. So for this weekend's weather, it gets warmer day by day. Upper 80s tomorrow, low 90s Thursday with the heat and humidity. 96 on Friday, very warm, lasting throughout Saturday and Sunday. We'll let you know when the heat finally breaks. Ken, it's coming up with your weekend forecast in a few minutes.
All right. Unbelievable. I just during the break before I popped my head outside to check my basil again, they say thank you very much, Ken, for the kind words, but don't pick me. I'm just telling you, it doesn't want to be picked. It is, just they're gonna have a rude comeuppance when it's pesto season. That's all I'm
I think
saying.
so. Yeah.
It's gonna be one day they'll be talking on the phone to each other, texting, the next minute they're gonna be in the blender. Just warning them. All right, Mike, it is 8:09 right now. A beautiful, beautiful day. But let's take a look at the traffic. This isn't so beautiful. Right now, this is the approach to the Lincoln Tunnel again on 495. This is New Jersey Route 3, 495 Cam 2. So this right here, you can see Manhattan in the background there in the upper right side. These folks are headed toward the Lincoln Tunnel. Just a lot of volume. At least we don't have the breakdowns that we had an hour ago, but the damage is done. So that we have a lot of residual delays making your way into Manhattan. Another shot right now. This is from the Jersey Turnpike as you make your way by interchange 16E, the Eastern Spur. This shot actually takes you to the roadway we just showed you. So you can kind of see just after the tolls there on the right side, you could see that you see the police activity there? There was a breakdown. In fact, that might still be it. There was a breakdown at the toll booth, and I think the police are trying to take care of that. But you could see the traffic still continues after that as you make your way to the Route 3 to then 495 and into the Lincoln Tunnel. So we have a lot of delays making your way across. Even volume to the Holland right now is about 25 to 30 crossing the Holland Tunnel. I think that's because people heard of these other incidents, so they're trying to avoid. And usually the Holland does not have much of a problem, but now it does. Let's look at the approaches to the GWB. We have a crash on the GWB upper level. So that is going to be, it's not impacting it yet, but that's going to impact the right side there. Those trucks, they are going into where the crash is. As you make your way across the GWB. Also, crash investigation, Route 23 northbound by Montague Township. All lanes are closed. Just a lot. We got a lot. So beware. It is 8:10 right now. And as we move along, we had a 1.6 magnitude earthquake striking Morris County yesterday. It happened at in the middle of the morning, during the morning drive at 5:40 in the morning. It was centered 2 miles west of Morris Plains, about 30 miles from New York City. The U.S. Geological Survey reported no damage, but it follows a 2.4 quake in Bergen County in January and a powerful quake in Reddington Township, 4.8 last year. Earthquakes are rare, but we do have the Ramapo fault line in the area, so they do happen. But this isn't one of those slip faults like they have. It's not like in California where one piece of land would go under the other and we'd have a massive quake. That will not happen. We don't have that kind of slippage of the plates here. These are just little fault lines, so it is what it is. It is 8:11. Malcolm Jamal Warner, beloved for his role as Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show, has tragically died at 54 in an accidental drowning in Costa Rica. Authorities say Warner was swimming at Playa Cocles on Sunday when a strong current, a rip current, pulled him under. Despite rescue efforts, he couldn't be revived. The Jersey City native and Emmy-nominated actor starred in all 197 episodes of the iconic sitcom The Cosby Show, leaving a lasting legacy. Warner also appeared in Malcolm and Eddie and The Resident. He was a Grammy-winning musician. He is survived by his wife and his daughter. 8:12, a 44-year-old Queens man drowned in a backyard swimming pool during a house party in Wayne Saturday night. Police responded to a mistaken report of a car crashing into the pool on Rutgers Court, only to find the man unresponsive at the bottom of the pool. Partygoers attempted CPR before police and paramedics took over, but the man was pronounced dead at a local hospital. A New Jersey Transit bus crashed into a storefront on Main Street in West Orange just after 1 a.m. Saturday, slamming into the Oak Tree Nail Salon. The impact damaged 2 upstairs apartments, displacing residents after a lamppost pierced the floor. Several businesses remain closed, and the affected residential units are deemed unsafe. The bus driver had some minor injuries, and the cause of that crash now under investigation. 8:13, a 22-year-old Lacey woman facing charges after striking 2 people in a Toms River apartment complex parking lot late Saturday night and fleeing the scene. The hit and run at Winteringham Village left a 60-year-old man seriously hurt. He needed treatment at Jersey Shore University Medical. Kagla Nimutlu was arrested before leaving the complex and is being held at Ocean County Jail. A tanker spill dumping 800 gallons of gasoline at the retro-styled Wawa on Rio Grande Avenue in Wildwood Sunday afternoon, prompting road closures and storm drain blockages to protect the nearby Back Bay. Heavy rain delayed cleanup efforts, and the smell of gas did linger into the evening. The store did reopen last Sunday with gas back on Monday. A 68-year-old Bergen County doctor, Richard Tanzer, faces charges of criminal sexual contact after allegedly inappropriating having contact with a patient in his office. Family Medical Group on Friday Tanser, a Montville resident, was arrested, is being held at Bergen County Jail pending a court appearance. Authorities urge anyone with information to contact the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office. The city of Plainfield united for a storm recovery benefit concert at Plainfield High on Sunday, raising about $85,000. After two deadly storms struck July 3rd and the 14th, claiming 4 lives and causing widespread damage. The funds will support a storm recovery grant program to help residents cover funeral costs and property repairs. Mayor Adrian Mapp emphasized community solidarity, saying, quote, "We come together in times of crisis to help each other." And a new report reveals regular energy consumers, not corporations, are footing the bill for the AI boom's surging power demands. Data centers, critical for AI operations, drove a $9 billion spike in power costs from 2024 to 2025. That, according to Monitoring Analytics. This has led to a roughly $25 monthly increase on electric bills for customers in the 13 states served by PJM interconnection. Experts warn that without separating data centers from regular power grids, costs could keep rising. Proposed solutions include requiring data centers to generate their own clean energy. Google, for instance, is coming up with smaller, smaller regional nuclear power plants that would just power their AI and their cloud storage. So that could be the solution. It would take a burden off the rest of us. 8:15, sun and clouds today, highs in the low 80s, right now 67 degrees. Meteorologist Mike Favetta returns with your full Garden State forecast. Also, we'll take calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. Don't go away. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. It's 8:16, taking calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. Beautiful morning, sun and clouds today. The few clouds we'll see will be later in the day. Highs in the upper 70s to low 80s. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the full Garden State forecast. Mike, good morning.
Good morning, Ken. It's one of those hidden gems to have a morning such as this, kind of like a little taste of fall of what's to come. And then we get thrown back into reality by Thursday and Friday when we wake up and you look outside and it's just dewy, it's sticky, it's humid. Feels like a South Florida morning in the summertime. Yeah, that's what's coming. Just about 2.5 days away. So enjoy the sunshine and the 78 degrees toward Long Branch today. It's going to feel fantastic down by the beach and boardwalk in Point Pleasant. A lovely easterly breeze may promote some extra clouds this afternoon, but beyond that, staying dry through the end of the day. The heat index starts off feeling like 60 right now at 817 in Sussex. That is lovely. Feels like 77 in Long Branch and 79 in Ship Bottom. So lots of clear sky today. Any storms are way back off to our west, and they basically get steered to our south thanks to the high pressure that's in control right through Friday. Now, that will change and give us more of a humid feel as the wind switches direction by Friday afternoon. So as we have the dry weather now, it'll feel much cooler and much drier. UV index is at a 9 today, which means you can burn fairly quickly. The sun is still very strong. So despite the cooler and more comfortable feel, it's still important to use the sunscreen as you could burn quite easily. Dew points are working again. Okay, so we start off this morning with temperatures feeling like they're quite dry in through the end of the day. Then notice the humidity starts to creep back in as temperatures warm in through the upper 60s and low 70s. And as that dew point gets into the 70s, it feels more humid and stickier throughout the day on Thursday. Look what happens Thursday afternoon, even the upper 60s there in Sussex, meaning, yeah, it'll feel quite humid through the end of the week. And then it turns that dark shade of green by Friday. This is the really tropical weather that we'll experience even down toward Medford, Millville, Cape May, mid-70s. That's like borderline rainforest humidity coming back in for Friday. So very hot and very humid as we head into the end of the week. Now, with that, we'll see a little bit more of a clearing throughout the course of the week. It stays nice and dry. The rains is at bay. No rainfall forecast going into the end of the week. You see these little spits and spurts here down by southern New Jersey through the end of the day. Those are the potential for some rogue showers that may pop up due to that easterly breeze. But beyond that, I think we're relatively dry going into the remainder of this week. Important to keep that garden watered because you'll see those plants wilt pretty quickly given how dry it is. Notice that by Sunday night, a few passing showers and storms move by, clearing for Monday. Doesn't exactly turn cooler, though. It's still hot into next week, and then another round of showers and storms by the time we get to Wednesday. So as far as this weekend, the heat sticks around for Saturday. It gets slightly cooler, but just a little bit for Sunday. But you'll notice the humidity remain, and then another chance of late-day storms on Sunday evening. So overall, a hot week ahead. Once we get beyond another beautiful start to the day tomorrow, you'll really feel that humidity come back in a matter of hours, I think, come Thursday, and especially for Friday, Ken.
All right. Thank you so much, Mike. But for now, no humidity. Humidity is low and the temperature's comfy, and it's just a beautiful morning. Thank you, sir. 69 degrees. I got 69% humidity here too, which early with the cooler temperature, that's good because as the temperature increases, that humidity should come down a little bit and it'll be just a beautiful day. Really, really is not one to complain about. This is something we should complain about, though. Let's take a look at the, this is the Route 3495 merge, North Bergen area. As you can see, this is just volume. This is actually not bad when you consider where that's located. If you do this on a regular basis, you know that usually at that point, it's pretty much stopped. So the fact that it's flowing is a good thing because just beyond that, where they're all headed to, that lower right of the screen, that's when it becomes 495 in its entirety. And then you have the helix into the Lincoln Tunnel. So right there, you're about a mile or so from the mouth of the Lincoln Tunnel, and that is not too bad considering what we had about an hour ago. The approach from the turnpike that takes you to that, though, that's not so good right now. We had a disabled truck, and I think they're still working on it because take a look at what we have with that. That has really not changed at all in an hour. Those people have been stuck there. So these people are by 16E south of the toll plaza. The eastern spur of the turnpike, and they just have not moved. These people all want to get off to go toward the Lincoln Tunnel, and they are absolutely jammed, absolutely stuck. So not a good situation for them, as opposed to the folks who are already beyond or headed to Manhattan via the GWB. Right now, we are told there is a crash on the upper level westbound. So that's not bad because these folks are headed eastbound. There is a little rubbernecking, though, as you pass it, but not so bad. So the upper level on the right is about a 30-minute crossover. The lower level on the left there is about 35 minutes. 8:22 is our time. Governor Phil Murphy, joined by former Governor Chris Christie and Lieutenant Governor Tahisha Way, unveiling the official portrait of New Jersey's first Lieutenant Governor, Kim Guadagno, at the State House. On New Jersey's Laura Jones explains how this is a first for the Garden State.
Governor Phil Murphy, joined by former Governor Chris Christie and Lieutenant Governor Tahisha Way, unveiled the official portrait of New Jersey's first Lieutenant Governor, Kim Guadagno, at the State House.
As New Jersey's first Lieutenant Governor and our Secretary of State, you served for 8 years with tireless dedication to the people and communities of this state.
The ceremony, attended by the former Lieutenant Governor, along with family, friends, and former staff, celebrated her 8 years of service from 2010 to 2018. In August 2023, following the passing of Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver, Governor Murphy announced plans to commission portraits for all former Lieutenant Governors, establishing a new tradition.
This is a day of triumph by any measure, but it was born out of a day of tragedy. And that is the passing of Sheila Oliver almost 2 years ago. And the notion that, hey, wait a minute, we've never had portraits of lieutenant governors. Of course, we never had lieutenant governors until Kim came along. Would that not be a fitting step to take in honor of you and ultimately Tahisha and the many who will follow, but also in Sheila's memory? So it's a poignant moment that brings us together today, and we have the honor next month of unveiling Sheila's portrait right here in this very same location.
Governor Murphy praised Guadagno's dedication, saying she served with distinction and commitment to New Jersey's families.
We're here today to honor my friend,
the original LG.
Lieutenant Governor Way highlighted Godano's historic role and her work as Secretary of State.
She selflessly put people before politics and helped us hit the ground running on behalf of our constituents.
From the people that I did consider, I asked advice of a longtime friend of mine. I said, what do you think I should do here? And he said, pick the person you like the most. And it was the best advice I got, and that's exactly what I did. I picked the person that I liked the most.
Former Governor Chris Christie noted Godano's efforts to reduce bureaucracy and boost economic growth.
Leading the efforts in us reducing bureaucracy and red tape that burdened our citizens and prevented a lot of business growth from happening, to being the advocate all the time in my ear for the business community in this state.
The portrait was painted by North Caldwell artist Liza Amir. It captures Godano's strength and grace and will hang permanently in the Lieutenant Governor's suite. Godano expressed her gratitude, calling the honor humbling.
I want to thank and give my deepest gratitude to the people of New Jersey. I know this was not in the budget at the time Sheila passed. I know everybody had to scrimp and save to find the money to make this portrait. I want to thank the people of New Jersey because they paid for it. The taxpayers paid for this, and it's special to me to serve for that. It's been a privilege of a lifetime to have served for them and with them.
It's only fitting that we recognize your lasting contributions with a portrait that will stand the test of time, and I'm confident that your example will continue to inspire all who see this portrait in these halls as they follow in your footsteps.
I'm Laura Jones on New Jersey.
Thank you to Laura for that report. 8:26 now. A new Wallet Hub study ranks New Jersey third for the best public school systems in 2025, excelling in reading and math scores with 8.6% of its schools in the nation's top 700. The state boasts a strong pupil-to-teacher ratio and a dedicated digital learning plan. The study, comparing 50 states and D.C. across 32 metrics, highlights New Jersey's focus on quality education and safety. Alina Habba, President Trump's pick as interim U.S. Attorney for New Jersey, faces a critical deadline today as her 120-day term expires without Senate confirmation. Facing opposition from Democratic senators, her fate now rests with federal judges deciding yesterday whether to extend her tenure. They haven't made their decision known yet, but 13 of the 15 federal judges appointed by Democratic presidents in the state of New Jersey are Democrats. So the fact that she's a conservative appointed by a conservative president, she doesn't stand too much of a chance, but we'll see what happens. Miracles do happen. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche praised Habba's leadership, urging judges to keep her in place. New Jersey's Governor Phil Murphy, whom you saw a moment ago, is not ruling out redistricting as Texas and California consider new congressional maps amid Republican efforts to bolster GOP seats in Texas. Democrats, led by House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, are exploring counter moves in states like New Jersey. So in other words, the liberals want to gerrymander the districts so that they are guaranteed to get Democrats elected to Congress, because they know if given your choice of, say you did it county by county, the Democrats would lose. So wherever they have power to do so, they want to gerrymander the districts. So they artificially create districts that encompass little bits and pieces of 17 counties, like a squiggly line, and that way they can get somebody elected to represent them in Congress. That's the game Democrats play. Governor Murphy has not yet discussed plans with national Democrats, but he hinted at future talks, saying, quote, never bring a knife to a gunfight. Typical Democrat style. New Jersey's options are limited, holding 9 of 12 congressional seats, and any map change would require altering state law. But they control everything right now: the Assembly, the Senate, and the governorship, and the Supreme Court in the state as well. 8:28, New Jersey's Attorney General Matthew Platkin dismissed accusations from fellow Democrat State Senator James Beach as outrageous and wrong, after Beach claimed that Platkin is using his office for political vendettas, which many have accused him of, and it looks pretty obvious that he might be. Beach, a Camden County Democrat, called for legislative hearings on Platkin's alleged mismanagement, citing a dismissed racketeering case against ally George Norcross. Platkin urged lawmakers to focus on improving lives rather than political attacks. Hey, Platkin, you have a job to do, but you don't do it with friends? Is that how it works? Beach also sponsors a bill to remove state police from Platkin's oversight. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy's administration has begun distributing property tax relief to over 125,000 senior and disabled homeowners through the Senior Freeze program. It follows a record $4 billion budget allocation for tax relief, including $2.4 billion for the Anchor program and $600 million for the new Stay New Jersey initiative for seniors so they don't move out and retire elsewhere where there are no state income taxes. With an October 31st deadline for application, these efforts aim at easing the burden of the state's high property taxes, which average over $10,000 a year. 8:29, we have 66 degrees. The phone lines are open at 888-658-0234. Sun and clouds today, highs low 80s. The full Garden State forecast in a moment. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings, seen daily at ONNJ.com, Roku, Fire TV, news on Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, and X, and now streamed live on Rumble and Twitch at twitch.tv/On New Jersey. We'll be back in 30.
Hi, I'm Jeanette Hoffman, host of Energy Matters. Join me every night at 6 p.m. where we're discussing energy affordability, challenges, and solutions with stakeholders and elected officials. Join me weekdays at 6 p.m. on Energy Matters on ONNJ.
Very good morning to Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025. 69 degrees now at 8:30. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Sun and clouds today, highs low 80s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with a detailed Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. A really pretty start to the day. Gorgeous outside, and it stays clear right through this afternoon and into tomorrow. Just some extra clouds down toward the beaches as we head into the end of the day today, thanks to that easterly breeze that tends to pull in more humidity. And then the real hot and humid weather returns as soon as tomorrow and even going into Friday. So it gets warm in a hurry. As far as the day today, we stay nice and sunny down toward the shore points. Again, extra clouds at times, especially with that little bit of a breeze. And the heat index really warming up into this afternoon. Look at how tomorrow climbs into the low and mid 80s with a little bit more humidity, thanks to a southerly breeze. 90s as soon as Thursday, 95 you saw there flash on by. And then Friday, this is the weather that we're not looking forward to. 100 degrees. Even the camera is like, nope, that's it. We are done with the heat and humidity. Wants to enjoy a little bit of that refreshing breeze. But no, it'll stay nice and dry, I think, going into the weekend. However, have to deal with that 100-degree heat in Mount Holly and even 99 in Newark and 99 in Hackensack. So plenty of warm weather to endure once we get to the end of the work week, and it'll take some time. How about head toward the beaches for a refreshing breeze? Sunset at 8:21 this evening. Lots of clear sky throughout the end of the day. Water temperatures warm there. I mean, average for this time of year, with the high tides happening later on this evening, closer to the 6 and 7 o'clock hour. Partly sunny, we'll call it, because again, as those extra clouds move in through the end of the day, it'll start to feel a little bit warmer, and then a low risk of rip currents along the New Jersey beaches. That yellow area is if you're heading toward Long Island, where you'll have a little bit more of a moderate rip current risk. So these are the clouds that start to work their way through, maybe promote a little bit of a sea breeze front, giving the beach locations a little bit of wet weather. But again, it's the front that slides through this weekend that will help promote the cool down into Saturday and Sunday. Does it take its time moving through? Yeah. So it's not a fast cool down, and it certainly won't feel chilly, especially when we go from 96 on Friday only to 91 on Saturday. It will remove some humidity into the end of the weekend, but we're right back at 90 by Monday, so it doesn't last very long. Now, we know you see a lot of storms here for this weekend. The better chance for some storms is on Sunday afternoon, but I think the beaches stay dry on Saturday. 90 as the high, with that big time heat and humidity can racing back into New Jersey as soon as Thursday.
We like that. All right. And if you're going to go to the beach Sunday, go early and get ready to leave at noon. Just saying. Thank you, Mike. It is 8:33, 68 degrees right now. Very pleasant out there. Let's take a look at I-287 at Easton Avenue. The folks that you see on the left side of your screen, they are headed to the west. The east is behind them. That's why you have the shadow in front of the vehicles as they're headed towards you. So that's just a little volume. Before there, actually about 30 seconds ago, there were a lot more cars. I think somebody may have broken down on the side, but now things might have cleared up. So that's just an idea of volume at this hour of the morning. We also have delays on I-78 local lanes from exit 51 to 49. We're told all lanes are open, but 2 miles of volume delays through there. New Jersey Turnpike Western Spur southbound from 16W to 15E, all lanes open, but there's a 5-mile delay due to volume. There's a crash investigation, Route 23 northbound south of Clove Road in Montague Township with all lanes closed. We take a look at the 8095 approach now to the GWB, the upper level on the right, lower on the left. You can see the upper is your better choice. Lower level's 40 minutes into Manhattan. The upper on the right is 30 minutes in. 8:34 now is our time. For 120 years, Women Rising has been a vital force in Hudson County, helping women and their families move from crisis to stability and from survival to success. Whether it's escaping domestic violence, finding safe housing, or gaining the skills needed to re-enter the workforce, Women Rising is there. Joining us today are Lisa Juricio, Fund Development Director, and Margaret Abrams, Domestic Violence Response Team Coordinator, to talk about the organization's mission and how the public can support it, including at the upcoming Rise Up Golf Tournament, which is August 25th at Skyway Golf Course in Jersey City. Lisa and Margaret, good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Ken.
Morning, Ken. Thank you for
Good
having
to have you
us.
both. You bet. It's good to have you on. You do the Lord's work for sure. And what does Women Rising do for people who haven't? I read about you online. It's amazing what you do and the people you do it with. So tell us about this critical work, how it all got started.
So, Women Rising was founded 120 years ago, and it started with a small group of women looking to make a difference in the community and support other women and community members. And from there, we continue to grow. 50 years ago, we incorporated our domestic violence shelter, being able to house 20 plus women as well as their children, supporting them, empowering them, offering them the resources in order to live a safe, productive, healthy lives with their family. And that's basically what Women Rising is. We have all the services to assist women and their families to become self-sufficient, from workforce programs, working with moms and babies, support groups. We work with in all of the major departments that any survivor of domestic violence would possibly navigate. That would be DCPMP, the court systems, the police departments. So I kind of look at Women Rising like we're a one-stop shop. If we don't have the service available in-house, we have great collaborations within the community in order to refer our clients out. And one of the important pieces of it is we hold all the information confidential. So anybody could come to us looking for services and they're going to receive services. No one is denied. But most importantly, all of our services that we offer are all free and confidential. Lisa, you want to
I
speak
can't even
about the
imagine.
golfers?
Yeah, I was just going to say before you jump into it, I just can't even imagine a young woman going through the stress of raising children and then having to deal with domestic abuse, maybe drugs or alcohol involved in the partner, whatever. I mean, you make a decision as a couple to bring children into the world, and then you have an abuser who abuses a woman, and now she has to somehow supply money and food for the child, take care of her own life, and find a place to live where she's not battered. I can't even imagine having to live that life, and thank God for you folks taking care of them. Just before we get into the golf outing, because we have time, we'll make time for that. You've supported women in Hudson County for, as you said, more than a century. So what changes have you seen, say, in the last few years, with everything that's happened, say, even from the time of the pandemic to now?
Oh, the pandemic actually had a huge impact on the domestic violence world. During it, many survivors weren't coming forward for services. They believed police departments were shut down, because the government was saying everything is shut down, everybody stay indoors, that created extreme chaos within the family. So what we're seeing now, and I could speak in regards to the domestic violence response teams, they're a group of civilians that respond to police departments and do crisis intervention. So they're right there at the time that an incident takes place. So what we're seeing now, which is very interesting to me, is that here we are years out of the pandemic, and yet we are still having some clients just this year alone. There were 10 separate incidents where these individual clients had stated they were just coming forward from the, living in that lockdown world, because the isolation that occurred during the pandemic and being in that home, they're now starting to be able to be free from the abuser. The abuser's returning back to work, the abuser's returning back to normal activity. And here we were thinking that, we're out of the pandemic, the worst of it is over, because we did hit, once we did come out, we did hit, an escalation in calls. But then it normalized, it went back to normal. And now we're seeing them just, survivors still coming forward stating that, they're just coming out of it, being able to free from that abuser. So it's very interesting. That's to me,
Amazing.
at least.
Well,
And
and
I
thank
did want
God
to
you
touch on
exist.
something, Ken.
Sure.
You spoke about drugs and alcohol in the relationship. And I want to talk about one of the new programs that Women Rising is developing as we speak right now. Is the abuse intervention program. So not only are we providing services to survivors of domestic violence, but we're creating a holistic healing effect for the family. We do realize that domestic violence is a learned behavior. So you're learning to become a victim, if that's what you want to say, and learning to become a perpetrator. So now not only are we providing healing services for that survivor, but we are now addressing the issue with abusers in order to, educate them as well, empower them as well, and hoping that they could then address all the trauma in their life and go back and, develop healthy relationships.
Yeah, and hopefully change their lives in the way they treat other people. That's
Yes,
beautiful. That's a
yes,
wonderful because I think all too often people think of it as let's protect the women and let's get those evil abusers in jail when they may also need some help, so that they don't
absolutely.
recreate their abuse with somebody else as well. And Lisa, let's talk about a good thing here, a happy thing. Not that everything that you do isn't good. God bless you for it. But you have a happy event here, if you will, the Rise Up Golf Tournament. What can people expect, and why is the event so very important for your mission?
Sure. So we are celebrating our 120th year, and I think that's just something that New Jersey and Hudson County needs to celebrate. And on August 25th, we're having a golf outing at the beautiful Skyway Golf Course, where we're going to come together, raise funds, because, like everything else, Ken, we need to, put money in the cookie jar so that we can continue these wonderful programs. Women Rising has a 24-hour hotline for anyone that needs help. And, all of that costs money. So we need to raise funds so we can continue to provide and expand services that empower, women and families so that they can, uplift the community. And I think that's something that, we would love people to come and join us. The hotline is 201-333-5700. And anyone who wants to find out about our golf outing can visit our website at www.womenrising.org, and you can go in and register. And we hope to see you all out on August 25th with the beautiful New York City skyline behind you. There's not a more beautiful spot, in the tri-state area to play golf than that Skyway Golf Course. So we hope you can come out and join us.
And if they don't play golf and they don't want to go to the tournament, but they want to help, they can go to the website or call that number and make a donation as well, correct?
Absolutely. And they, and they can always, also, drop off, we accept in-kind donations all the time, new clothing, new items. We always accept donations, for the people that we serve here.
That's awesome. Well, you do an amazing job. Thank you both for doing what you do. And do not miss the Rise Up Golf Tournament. It's August 25th, Skyway Golf Course, Jersey City. Lisa Gricio, Fund Development Director, and Margaret Abrams, Domestic Violence Response Team Coordinator for Women Rising. Thank you both for being here this morning, and thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you for having us, Ken. Have a wonderful day.
You bet. It's you are just amazing people. So we're very, very happy that you are in our community here in New Jersey. Come on again, please. Let us know how things went with the tournament. 8:44
We will.
right now,
Thank you.
67 degrees. Yes, please. 67 degrees. And when we come back, word is that Israel is no longer willing to compromise on the withdrawal maps presented as part of the plan for the release of hostages and a ceasefire. What happens next? We'll speak with News Nation senior national security contributor Lieutenant General Richard Newton about it. Sun and clouds today, highs in the low 80s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta returns with your full Garden State forecast, and we'll take calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching ONNJ Jersey Mornings. We'll be right back. Welcome back to ONNJ Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. 8:45 now. We have a beautiful 69 degrees, sun and clouds today, highs low 80s. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the full Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. We've got a beautiful day ahead, dry, low humidity, and clear across northern New Jersey. You might find some clouds as you head down towards central and southern parts of the state, thanks to that easterly breeze, but it'll keep you pleasant in Jersey City. 81 there on the waterfront, back over toward Hackettstown, Washington, and even by Newton up in Sussex County, low 80s for you. So the air is nice and clear today, pleasant levels of air quality, nice and low, and so we'll keep it good. Down toward the tropics, as far as the tropics are concerned, we had this area highlighted in yellow as a low risk of development. That has now ended. So no development risk, at least for the next few days. We're quiet in the Gulf of Mexico as well as the water temperature continues to warm, even here in New Jersey, the rest of the month, featuring average heat and humidity, unlike down in the Southwest where it's a little hot, at least above average. As far as rainfall for the next 2 weeks overall in New Jersey, equal chances of seeing a decent amount of rain. And then the next few days, it'll be dry going throughout Thursday and Friday. A very warm finish to the week with hot and humid conditions, feeling like 100 or greater by Friday afternoon. Saturday keeps it warm and humid as well. A chance of an afternoon storm Saturday, but I think a better chance on Sunday evening as we wrap up the weekend. Clearing out just in time for another hot day on Monday. So down the shore, more clouds today. I think clearing into tomorrow. Thursday is warm and Friday hot, 90 or better. Even the overnights staying very warm and sticky down in the upper 70s. Throughout Saturday, we're clear. Sunday could have those late day storms, and then Monday clears out yet again. So another pretty summer-like week as we head into the dog days of July. It's been hotter this summer, but I think we get a little taste of summer before we enjoy this little brief fall respite. It feels lovely outside, and it'll stay that way going into tomorrow morning before the reality check of the hot and humid weather returns just in time for the weekend.
And there we have it. All right, Mike, thank you very much, sir. Enjoy your day. 69 degrees right now. Let's take a look. Yes, thank you. See you tomorrow. Take a look at I-287 in Bridgewater Township at 22 East. We do have some volume brake checking. In fact, it's actually looking right on cue. It's looking worse than it was a minute ago. That's just a lot of volume as people head into the sunshine. You can see the shade going behind them, the shadows behind the car. So they're literally driving into sun, and that could very well be why we have that volume delay there. But nonetheless, just beware. That's in Bridgewater Township, 287 at US 22 East. We have a downed tree on Route 202 southbound by West Hanover Avenue in Morristown. All lanes are closed through there. Crash investigation. Route 23, both directions south of Clove Road in Montague Township. All lanes closed there. Take a look at the Hudson River crossings right now. Holland Tunnel is is 20 to 25 minutes. Lincoln Tunnel is 30. This is the upper lower level approach, 8095 GWB, now starting to move pretty well. We only have 20 to 25 minutes across, much better than an hour ago. 8:48 is our time. Word is that Israel is no longer willing to compromise on the withdrawal maps presented as part of the plan for the release of hostages and a ceasefire. So what happens next? News Nation senior national security contributor, Lieutenant General Richard Newton, joins us on the phone to talk about it. Good morning, General. General, are you there?
I am here. You went blank on me for a minute there, Ken. Good morning.
There it is. We got you. All right, General. Good. So it's good to have you on. So it looks like Israel is at a sort of a take it or leave it point with Hamas right now. Now that Iran has been smacked and is probably broke, so they can't really help like they used to. Do you think that Hamas will take it?
Well, right now, the bottom line is the ball is in Hamas's court. I think we're the Trump administration and our representatives in Qatar, where the negotiations are ongoing between the United States, Egypt, Qatar, and certainly Israel and Hamas, the closer than it's ever been. The challenge is, just to put in perspective, that there are really two elements of Hamas in these negotiating discussions. First, there's a political Hamas that's actually positioned in Qatar, where the negotiations are ongoing. They've been there for many years, frankly. And then there's the Hamas military wing. The terrorist Hamas leaders are in Gaza, somewhat pinned down, if you will, and in a position where they're in their third leader over the last 8 months. So it's a very difficult position certainly for Hamas on their side of the deal. But Israel, could be running out of patience here. But I think the United States and, frankly, Israel, led by Prime Minister Netanyahu, really want to get a deal done. They want to get the hostages home. They want to get moving forward on what is going to be a 60-day ceasefire or truce. They're willing to reassign their Israeli forces in Gaza and so forth. But all eyes right now are on Hamas and the Hamas terrorist leaders in Gaza.
And the IDF began ground maneuvers in the center of the Gaza Strip. That's the first such operation since the beginning of the war. And up till now, the IDF stayed away from the central refugee camp area because they thought that hostages could be there. But at this point, do they feel the hostages are no longer there, or are they just saying, you know what, we got to come to an end somehow, and they're willing to take the risk?
I think they're still conducting, some modicum of ground operations in Gaza, as you referenced, in the central part of Gaza. They've actually been positioned there before, but Israeli Defense Forces leaders have said that there are really no more tactical objectives, to go out and root out Hamas, other than elements of the terrorist organization are still in certain locations around Gaza. To put it in perspective, Ken, they started with 30,000 terrorist fighters. They're down to about 16,000. They have been nearly obliterated by Israeli Defense Forces over the last several months, last couple of years, frankly. There is no really, command and control, but there are elements of Hamas fighters in and around, as you mentioned, in the central region that do pose a risk to not only Israeli Defense Forces, but frankly to the non-militant Palestinian citizens. It's a very difficult situation. And frankly, it's one, even if you get a peace settlement or a peace negotiation, a truce, if you will, for 60 days, and then moving forward for a more permanent ceasefire, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see elements of Hamas, come up on the radar, if you will, and pose a threat to both Israeli forces as well as the non-militant Palestinians and so forth. But nonetheless, I think we're at an impasse here, but the ball still remains in Hamas's court.
Where do you see Gaza and the current residents of Gaza a year from now? Because clearly they can't go back to the bombed out districts that are just hovels, and there's so much there where people could get hurt, et cetera. There's just no place to live. So where do you see the people of Gaza a year from now?
Boy, I see an impending human crisis, frankly, and I'm generally a fairly optimistic person, but what you're going to need is external to Israel, frankly, and external to to Gaza itself. You're going to need strong support from non-governmental organizations, perhaps the United Nations. It could be a third party, say Egypt or Jordan or another, Arab nation. That's going to be difficult to do, by the way, because they've never been committed to the Gazan civilians in that part of the world. It can be very complex, but first and foremost, here's what needs to happen. You need to make sure that the Gazans, we're talking about 2 million, and I call them the non-militant Palestinians that are caught in the crossfires here. They need to be fed. They need to have their basic human resources provided. That really, even Hamas has terrorized those civilians for years. Now that they've been caught between this conflict between Israel and Hamas since October 7th. Secondly, you're going to need to see the security of those citizens to really make sure that whatever ceasefire and long-term ceasefire peace settlement ensues here, that they're going to need to make sure the security of those people are going to need to be maintained. And then you're going to need to see reconstruction. We're talking billions of dollars, commitment that not only in the Mideast but elsewhere to begin the reconstruction of Gaza. That's going to take years, but there is a way out here, and I'm confident that can be achieved. But we have to have patience. We have to have, by the way, security, that's third-party security in the Gazan region, not just Israel Defense Forces, obviously, in this case, or certainly allowing Hamas to terrorize the Gazan citizens. And then you're going to need a hefty reconstruction that will then create, build back up their communities, literally, as you mentioned, Ken, from the rubble.
Yeah, and you do have, as you mentioned, General, you have issues where there has been a history of the Palestinian people not getting along in areas like Egypt. And of course, many in the 1960s ended up in Jordan. And there have been internal conflicts in Jordan over the decades. And the king of Jordan, they don't really want the Gazans coming in en masse to their country because of a history that has not been the greatest. And so this presents the problem, because you need land where these people, even if they were intense until you could do some construction in Gaza, you need land where they can at least temporarily live. And by the way, the U.S., for those who don't realize, both Israel and the U.S. has been feeding the people. For those wondering, where's the food coming from? Many of the Arab countries are not really helping, and most of the food coming in to feed the Gazans comes from the United States and Israel. There's video all over the internet of people in Gaza saying, "Thank you, President Trump." We don't usually see that on mainstream media, unfortunately, in the United States. But that is part of the reality. So I think part of it is going to be the Arab countries have got to step up and take in, if they all take in small amounts of the Gazans, I think this can be done, but it's just going to take time. What say you, General?
I agree. Your commentary is spot on. And because it's largely always been 1-800 the United States. And I think that's going to be the case moving forward, certainly providing our resources and food, but also our leadership. But there's a broader picture here. The broader picture is from President Trump's standpoint moving forward. We just went through his first 6 months of what I thought was a very effective administration for national security. But first and foremost, in Israel, strike a deal with regard to the hostages, get the hostages home, then create an environment and then pursue a permanent ceasefire in Gaza. This is all on the heels of supporting Israel and defeating Hezbollah, Hamas in this case, and still going after the Houthis, but also Iran and taking out their nuclear weapon ambitions and so forth. So there's lots of momentum here. But really, the crown jewel of the effort here is to get Israel and, for instance, Saudi Arabia, for Saudi Arabia to recognize Israel as a nation state, to bring them in the Abraham Accords. Now, if you get that momentum, you create that environment from a diplomatic aspect of this as well as economic aspect of this. You now create a more stable Middle East, and that's really the aim of the Trump administration. And I think that will then play, certainly into how we're able to lead the effort to bring some peace and stability in places like Gaza and elsewhere. But it's not going to be done on one Arab nation or another. This is going to take U.S. leadership. It's going to take Israel resolve to deter from the aggression that they've seen over the last several decades moving forward.
Indeed. It is the fastest growing cable news channel. Now we know why. News Nation's senior national security contributor, Lieutenant General Richard Newton. As always, thank you, sir, for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Ken. Always good to be with you.
Likewise, sir. Have a great day. It is 8:58 right now, 69 degrees. Mike says sunshine, little clouds later, highs low 80s, and that is on New Jersey Mornings for your Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025. I'm Ken Rosato. Catch you again tomorrow morning starting at 7 a.m. right here at On New Jersey Mornings.